All right, Denver Broncos fans. So here we are, ready to get into the 2018 season, and we're going to try to predict the win-loss record for the Denver Broncos, at least try our best.
Do our best.
And joining us is our special guest, TJ Carpenter. Welcome, TJ.
Up?
What's up, guys? How are you?
We're doing great.
We're
We're
doing
doing absolutely great. We appreciate you taking the time to come on here and try to help us gauge the season for the Denver Broncos.
So I have to ask you guys, before we get into any of this stuff, are you guys Cowboys fans, Browns fans? What is it? Are you? Because I know you guys are down there in Dallas.
Bears. I'm a Bears fan.
I'm a Cowboys
Bears,
fan.
Sorry, Bears. Cubs.
Yeah.
But Bears.
I'm a Cowboys.
well,
He's a Bears. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I both of you guys are probably you guys have gotten very familiar with misery over the last decade or so.
Oh,
that's true. That is true. Now, hopefully, things are turning around here for my Chicago Bears with this new Matt Nagy era. I'm a little optimistic.
Until the season starts?
Nagy's legit. Nagy's very, very good. I was a big fan of his. I used to cover the Chiefs before I covered the Broncos, and Nagy, I talked to him when he was the quarterbacks coach about infusing West Coast principles with the spread offense that they run in college, and it was a big thing for him. And he said if he ever got an opportunity to do that, that's what he would try to do. And he did it in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. Worked really, really well for like 2.5 months. So I'm curious to see if he can figure out a way to adapt and adjust really, really well for the Bears. But he's got a good quarterback to work with, so we'll see.
Yeah,
sure.
they got some weapons.
I completely agree, and I'm feeling pretty good.
As long as y'all stay healthy.
Yeah. Now, TJ, where can the Sports Fury Nation find you at?
You can find me at Fantom. Of course, we've been. You guys are on Fantom as well.
Yeah.
On Twitter, you can follow me at TJ Carpenter Show. But obviously on YouTube and on Facebook, all the stuff we do, just go to facebook.com/watchphantom, and you can check out noon o'clock every day, noon Mountain Time. On Watch Phantom.
Okay. Yeah, and all that will be in the description box below, guys. Go check them out. You'll definitely enjoy what you see.
Absolutely. And now, TJ, what's that shirt that you're wearing there?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the Denver Police Athletic League, PAL. It's a nationwide program. I got involved with them in Kansas City, and we actually were one of the model programs for how to help police and young minorities, young people in poor neighborhoods interact and trust one another. That's really what the program is designed to do. So when all that stuff went down in Ferguson, they brought in the Police Athletic League program to talk to them about how it was working in Kansas City. Yeah. And obviously Denver's been doing it for a very long time, which is one of the reasons why Denver doesn't have as many of those type of crimes as other major cities do. So I'm a big supporter of the Police Athletic League, and if you guys just look them up in your local area and figure out a way to help them, it's a very important program. I think one of the things that's going to make people a lot happier and nicer to one another, even if they don't know one another. So I think it's a really important program.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds amazing. I wasn't aware that was even a program. So that's great.
Everybody go check that out. That's
thanks
awesome.
for sharing that, man.
Yeah,
we appreciate it. All right, Broncos fans. So we're going to start off with Week 1. Denver at home hosting the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
Now, Seattle, I think they're going to regress this year. I love Russell Wilson, but that defense not as what it used to be, and that offensive line has a lot of question marks still for me.
No more Legion of Boom.
I think I'm going to go with Denver with a win here in Week 1. What do you think, TJ?
I was thinking Denver after watching training camp and everything, because they'd actually looked pretty good out of training camp. I was impressed with Case Keenum. He's really he's a very consistent quarterback, which is great. Yeah. They're a total mystery when it comes to the running game. They're a total mystery when it comes to the tight end position. Their offensive line is still bad. But the Broncos are really, really good at wide receiver. They've got 4 deep right now that I think could be starters for any team in the NFL, and not a lot of teams have that. So Cortland Sutton's legit. He's going to be really, really good. He's not a complete receiver, but physically he's very imposing. And then they've got Deshaun Hamilton, who is a complete receiver, maybe not as physically gifted, but he's really good as well. So that's your top 4, along with Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah.
So I think that their passing game is actually going to show some moments of brilliance. But the problem is in a 4-quarter game, the guys who know how to get it done, like Russell Wilson, are the ones who end up shining the most in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think you could go back and see that a lot of the Seahawks wins are actually kind of like that the team has been somewhat disjointed offensively, but in the end, in the fourth quarter, Russell Wilson will get it done for them. So I kind of expect the same thing. I used to think that it was going to be the Broncos, but then after the preseason game, they looked totally disorganized. They looked so bad. I legitimately thought to myself, has a head coach ever been fired in the preseason? Has that happened? Has that ever been justified? Because I think it might be justified now. With bench, they were really, really bad. Yeah. And I think a lot of, even for those who are not aware, in the Denver market, everybody's got that kind of legendary reporter. I think it's Dale Hansen in Dallas. Yeah. So that guy in Denver is Mike Kliss, and he's an embedded reporter. He's got John Elway's cell phone number. He's there. They go bowling together. They've got that kind of relationship. So he was like, man, the Broncos look terrible in a preseason game. So I don't think people are necessarily overreacting by saying that the coaching staff for the Broncos is a serious problem. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a bigger problem than it is for the Seahawks. So I think I think the Seahawks might actually win this one. And I do agree they are a bad team. Seahawks are terrible, but they might beat the Broncos week 1.
Yeah. Yeah, the coaching has always been is a big question mark for the Broncos, right? But I still got to go with Denver on this just because, like Josh was saying, the offensive line for Seattle and Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, I'm still excited to see what they could do. I think they could get after Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, he's a magician, though. He can escape the pocket, but how much can he run away from Von Miller and Bradley Chubb on both sides? So I think y'all could edge this out. If it was in Seattle, it might be a different story. But in Denver, I got to go with y'all. I still like the better matchup. So, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. And you're right about Von Miller. Bradley Chubb has looked pretty good in coverage. I think that was maybe where my biggest concern was going to be, was whether or not he could adjust to the outside linebacker position. But Chubb has looked pretty good in practice. The major concern, once again, is in the trenches. The offensive line for the Seahawks may be bad, but the defensive interior for the Broncos looked atrocious against the Vikings. Yeah. And their offensive line is also bad. So and just to I think it should be noted, the Minnesota Vikings offensive line is injury riddled. They've got all kinds of problems. They were bad last year, and they just worked the Denver Broncos defensive front in the running game last night. So I think that's really that's something you can't really evaluate in training camp, and so we haven't seen whether or not they got better there. And I think that they definitely haven't. So at least that's what it looks like week 1.
All right. Okay. So, all right, TJ's going with Seattle, and we're going with Denver.
All right.
But he could absolutely be right.
Yeah.
Now, heading to week 2, Denver stays at home playing against the Oakland Raiders.
Ooh.
Oakland Raiders have a ton of question marks for me going into this season.
John Gruden.
I'm not sure how this Gruden era is going to start off, in 2018. Here in week 2, I'm going with Denver Broncos. Oakland, they have a decent offensive line, I think. They got that going for them. But, I don't know, man. And then the Khalil Mack situation, he might not even be there. Who knows?
Maybe.
That's what I was going to say. He cost himself $800,000 by not playing in the first preseason game. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's serious about holding out. Yeah. So if they don't – and you know what, at this point – I think the Raiders need to realize that not only are they going to have to pay him what he wants, but also recoup the money that he is losing right now if they want him to play for the Raiders this season or ever again. Mm-hmm. So if that's where he's at, if they want to be any good, if Mark Davis wants to justify the $100 million he's paying John Gruden to be their head coach and get any sort of anything out of that, he needs Khalil Mack on the field for the Raiders. I think the Broncos are going to win that game. I think that they're going to win that game because the Raiders are completely dysfunctional right now and on their way out of town. They've got moving boxes everywhere. And, Khalil Mack's not going to be on the field. So I mean, is Amari Cooper going to save you? Amari Cooper can't catch.
Exactly.
So
That's true.
He's got to be the guy now.
Yeah,
And
that's
he
true.
has to.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know if he can. You know, Jordy Nelson's there, but you can't count on Jordy.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, and Oakland, the John Gruden era started so weird. We thought they were going to go defense because their defense was atrocious last year, besides Khalil Mack. And then they were going offensive linemen like almost every pick. So it was like, they're going to have a good offensive line, but where's the secondary at? And so that's going to be the biggest question mark. And I think you talked about earlier, y'all's receivers. I love y'all's receivers. I think Demaryius Thomas has still got a lot left in him, at least a few good years. Emmanuel Sanders, Cortland Sutton, all those guys, and Deshaun Hamilton, right, from Penn State. I love all those guys, man. I think y'all are gonna be able to carve up that secondary, and Denver should win this at home, Mile High, or it's not Mile High anymore. I don't know what is it called. I don't even know.
It is called Broncos Stadium at Mile High currently.
Oh, it's at Mile High. Okay, so I knew they changed it like 3 times, so I don't know.
I mean, you could not come up with a more perfect analogy for why the Denver Broncos suck right now than the fact that they can't even get the fucking name of the stadium right. I mean, it is just call it Mile High Stadium. I know you tried to do the sponsor thing for a while, but if you don't have a sponsor, just call it Mile High Stadium. Don't overthink.
Keep it simple.
Yes.
All right. So we're all unanimous on that one. Okay.
All right, heading into week 3, Denver's on the road against the Baltimore Ravens. I'm liking the Ravens this year, but I don't know. I think I'm going to go with Denver here in week 3.
Denver, okay.
What do you think, TJ?
I'm going to say that the Ravens win that one. I really like their running game. Alex Collins is a great back. I thought he was tremendous at Arkansas. I don't know why he didn't go higher in the draft than he did. Yeah. But his straight line speed's not very good. But I think a lot like Joseph Ajayi, he can move well without a ton of speed. So if the first preseason game is any indication, they're going to have a lot of problems with somebody like that.
Gotcha,
Sean.
This one I was going back and forth on. I almost picked Baltimore, but I got Denver because I think by this week 3, hopefully Case Keenum's got some rhythm with the receivers, and the defense, we already know y'all's defense was a top 5 defense last year. I think y'all, as long as Case Keenum gets in rhythm with their receivers, doesn't turn over the ball like all y'all's quarterbacks last year, I think y'all should be able to pull this out. I think it's going to be one of those games that'll come down to whoever turns over the ball, and I think Baltimore will blink first. So I think Denver wins this on the road here in Baltimore. So.
Okay.
All right.
All right, heading to week 4, Denver. Monday Night Football hosting the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes entering his first full season this year. And Kansas City, question marks on their defense.
Their defense got a lot of question marks, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Denver here on Monday night. So Broncos fans are like, oh, man, this guy's got the Broncos streaking. Just stay with me. But I got them winning right here in week 4. What do you think, TJ?
I think that game's going to be closer than a lot of people predict because I think Patrick Mahomes is really going to struggle this first season. He might be the best quarterback in the league in 5 years, but this first season he's going to throw a lot of picks, and then Andy Reid's going to turtle like he always does, and he's going to stop throwing the ball down the field. And everybody who is counteracting that and saying, well, that's not what they did last year in Kansas City. That's because that Matt Nagy was there, and Nagy made that offense. And I know anytime that you see Sports Illustrated just crawl over a campus like they did in Kansas City last offseason, that's because the coach or the PR staff or whomever is going up to Sports Illustrated and say, hey, come write this story about this guy. And they were trying to sell this as Andy Reid innovating late in his career. And that's just that's not true. There's a lot of delusion in Kansas City right now. But Andy Reid is definitely a better coach than Vance Joseph is. And Patrick Mahomes is definitely more talented than Case Keenum is. And their defense is decent, although Will Fuller is not going to not Will Fuller.
Kendall Fuller.
Kendall Fuller.
Yeah.
Kendall Fuller is I think he'll be okay, but he's not going to be like some savior. He's not Marcus Peters.
No.
So I think that defensively the Chiefs are going to be porous, and I think it's just a little bit. It doesn't take much. It's like a Ferrari. If you break a spark plug on a Ferrari, that thing's not going to work right. It's not going to drive properly. Yeah. So, it's going to cost $10,000 to fix. And that's exactly the way the Chiefs are. They've got Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt and all these flashy players, but they don't necessarily have the stability that Alex Smith had provided that team for 4 years, and they need it. They need it a lot, and they don't have it. So I think it's going to take very little. A couple of turnovers, a little bit of strife, and the Chiefs will fold like they always do. Honestly, but it's just going to be at 9-7 instead of 12-4 when they fold.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm not huge on Patrick Mahomes yet, just because I've seen Texas Tech quarterbacks come out of college and they haven't done nothing in the NFL, and so I'm still wanting to see what he can do. So now Andy Reid is a great evaluator of quarterbacks. He's coached some great quarterbacks in his career, so I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I want to see it. But against this defense, Denver's defense, I think that he's going to struggle. He might throw a couple picks. He might have a couple touchdowns still, but I think Denver should be able to pull this out on primetime Monday night at home.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, week 5, Denver on the road against the New York Jets at MetLife Stadium.
Yeah.
I absolutely think that Sam Darnold will be the starting quarterback entering the season for the Jets. He just looks...
He looked pretty good.
He looked
pretty good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but nonetheless, I think Denver is going to get this road win here in New York. I just don't think they have enough going for them right now. I mean, I'm excited for the
Broncos 5-0 to start the season.
5-0, 5-0.
Yeah.
But it's gonna get ugly here soon. So.
I think they'll probably beat the Jets. I do because that seems like that game where, I mean, their pass rushers are really, really good, and I don't think the Jets have enough to handle that. You've got a young rookie quarterback, Sam Darnold, who is going to fold under that pressure. So I got the Broncos winning that one.
Yeah, I got the Broncos winning, but this one makes me a little nervous because I do have y'all so far winning every game so far, right? Y'all are 4-0, and the Jets are one of those teams last year, even though they went 5-11, they competed with a lot of teams, and they could have won probably like 2 or 3 or more of those games. It wasn't some, BS calls against the Patriots, for example, So, Jets can't be taken lightly. I think they could still come out and possibly pull off an upset, especially in New York. It could be like a trap game per se, but I'm going to pick y'all to win. But it's like one of those games that I wouldn't be shocked if y'all go in there a little bit too high, because y'all are 4-0 in my predictions and just fumble up a little bit. So, but no, I got y'all winning this one.
Trap game? Game? Is that what
yeah, Jets are one of those teams that can pull off trap games. I really think so. They have Jermaine Kearse. They have some good receivers. Robbie Anderson, they did great last year. So I think that they have potential to pull it off offensively. But no, I got Denver winning this one. I got y'all 5-0 to start the season.
Wow, they're going undefeated, I think. Shit.
Woo, Denver Broncos fans love us right now.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, let's see here. About week 6, where Denver hosts the Los Angeles Rams. TJ, how do you see this one playing out? This is going to be
like a blood, like Caligula. I mean, it's going to be rough. It's going to be bad. It's going to be, not only is it going to be bad because the Rams are, defensively, the Rams are the most talented team I've ever seen assembled through free agency. It's crazy how good the Rams are. I think that this could get really nasty. Score-wise, I don't know. It's probably going to be like a 14, 17-point game or something like that, but it's going to look like one team is destined for the Super Bowl, the other team is destined for a top 5 pick. I think the Rams are going to just crush them because Wade Phillips and Aqib Talib. You tell me those guys don't want to stick it to Denver?
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, absolutely.
Oh, I absolutely got the Rams destroying Denver here, Sean.
Yeah, I do too. You got Aqib Talib, and then Marcus Peters. He knows y'all. He's played y'all twice a year back his whole career pretty much. So. Yeah, I got Rams. I think they're a Super Bowl contender, so Rams are going to take care of business.
Charles Gurley going to have a great season yet again.
Yeah. But, yeah, this is y'all's first loss for me, 5-1.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now Thursday Night Football here in Week 7. Ooh. Denver is on the road against the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona, man, this is a team I think people are overlooking here a bit. I don't think Sam Bradford is going to be the quarterback here by week 7.
He's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
At some point.
I think so. I think it'll be Josh Rosen. David Johnson looking damn good.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have absolutely a beast season. I think their defense is pretty damn decent, and I think here on Thursday night at home, I'm going to go with Arizona beating Denver.
You got Arizona.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
That's a good pick. Their running game's really good, and their offensive line is decent. So, I'm going to say that the Cardinals win that one too.
Wow. Yeah, I was watching actually the highlights before we started this recording for the first preseason game because they didn't air that game on over here. And, David Johnson looked pretty damn good. He looked
Of course he
good.
is.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad for fantasy purposes. But I actually had Denver winning this one just because Josh Rosen's starting. He's a rookie quarterback. I think that Denver's defense could take care of it. Because last year...
Just hand it off to David Johnson and throw it to Larry Fitzgerald.
That's true. That's true. But I feel like Josh Rosen might try to do too much here on prime time. He might feel the stage. He might be at home. He might think that he might be able to pull this out and try to do too much. Now, I just think because Denver's Broncos defense last year, a lot of people didn't. They were a great defense. Their offense just put them in such shitty situations because of the turnovers left and right by the quarterbacks. I think Case Keenum's going to clean that up. So it's going to be more the other team's going to have to beat Denver. That's how I look at it. And I'm not sure a rookie quarterback can go in and beat Denver's defense just yet. So I got Denver pulling off this. I wouldn't really say it's an upset, but I think they'll go on the road, prime time, and take care of business. Mm-hmm. So I'll be the odd man out.
Okay. All right, week 8. Matchup number 2 between Broncos and Kansas City Chiefs. This time it's an Arrowhead. Do you think Denver gets the series split here and Kansas City gets this win?
Yeah, I do. Kansas City is still 5-1 the last 6 games against the Broncos. Andy Reid knows how to play really well against them. He cares a lot about those games. So, yeah, they'll split that. Yeah.
Yeah, I got Kansas City winning this. Arrowhead's is a great stadium. I went there a couple years ago. It's a phenomenal stadium. They're great fans. I think Arrowhead will be able to. They'll be tough to beat Kansas City in Arrowhead. So yeah, I got Chiefs.
All right, cool. Moving on to week 9.
Yeah.
Denver Broncos at home against the Houston Texans. Now, Houston, if they stay healthy through week 9, I think this is a team that's a Super Bowl contender, and they're going to go into Denver and get the job done. Deshaun Watson was absolutely amazing before he went down with injury. I like Bill O'Brien. I like the run game there, and that defense is pretty damn stacked if healthy. So I'm going Houston.
This is the point in the season. Between week 9 and week 12 is usually when teams start to adjust to younger players who are good. And Deshaun Watson, I think, is going to start off the season really well. But I do expect him to struggle at some point later on in the year. And this is about that time. So this is a really hard game for me to pick because I think that this is also one of those moments where you could start to see the lack of depth that the Broncos have really start to show itself. But, yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of those, like, 17-12 games. It's going to be that kind of game. So I feel like, a lot of J.J. Watt, a lot of Von Miller, a lot of those pass rushers going back and forth. The quarterbacks are not going to look good in this game. I don't think so at all. But you might have some big plays from the receivers maybe, but the quarterback in general, their stat line will not look good. So I'm going to go Houston, but barely. I'm going to say Texans.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to Houston too. I think maybe Deshaun Watson struggles. 30 points a game when he was healthy last year was just this kid broke onto the scene and just took over the league. He wasn't just Rookie of the Year candidate; he was going to be MVP candidate if he didn't get hurt, in my opinion. Just that game he had with Tom Brady last year, just going back and forth. Man, that was a great game. But I could see possibly Deshaun Watson struggle a little bit, but I can't pick Houston to lose here. I just can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then after that is a bye week in week 10.
Okay.
Okay.
Right there in the middle, give or take.
Yeah.
Get a little point to kind of get a little break, get everybody rested.
Coming out of the bye week, they're on the road against the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a team that I think could be one of the best in the AFC.
If they stay healthy.
Yeah, I know Jason Verrett already went down. Hunter Henry already went down. But nonetheless, I still think they're overall a great team.
Yeah.
And I'm going Chargers here. What do you think, TJ?
Chargers, absolutely, all day long. I know that the injuries suck for them, but Phillip Rivers is easily the best quarterback in the division this year, and they have easily the best roster in the division this year. So, Chargers.
Yeah, Chargers too. Even this is about, if y'all played them early in the year, because they always start off real sluggish, right? It might be different, but this is about towards the second half of the season. They should get their feet underneath them, hopefully. And I think Chargers could be a dangerous team. So Chargers at home definitely.
Okay. Sucks getting a loss right out of the bye week.
Yeah, that is a little rough.
But in week 12, Denver at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers. How do you see this one playing out, TJ?
Steelers, absolutely. And I don't know if they need Le'Veon Bell to beat the Broncos, but they need Le'Veon Bell to do anything else in the postseason. I mean, they've got a really good wide receiving core. Antonio Brown's the best receiver in the league. But, Ben Roethlisberger is going to get hurt at some point because he always gets hurt at some point. When he gets hurt and he continues to play like he almost always does, his touchdown production drops under 20 pretty much every season that happens. Yeah. So I think you're looking at, they really, really need Le'Veon Bell, and they need to do what's right and get him re-signed and all that stuff. But I think that this is going to be tough. But I'll go Steelers just based on what we know about each team on paper right now. Because Tomlin's a good coach. Tomlin, I don't understand why people in Pittsburgh think that it's just Steelersness that makes people good. Yeah. That they don't value the talent that the players have or that the coaches have. Yeah. Tomlin's a great coach. The fact that anybody thinks he deserves to be fired is insane to me. And then also to the Le'Veon Bell stuff. I just it baffles me because they're definitely more well coached than the Broncos are.
I absolutely agree. I think Tomlin is a great coach. That's one thing that Pittsburgh does very well. Coaching. Hiring their coaches. He's only their third coach the third in franchise history. God. They know what they're doing over there.
They do. And consistency. That's what they're all about, right? And I got Steelers winning this. Their offense. Oh, man. Juju Smith-Schuster had a breakout year last year. They drafted James Washington. I think this offense is going to be just as dangerous this year. So, and their defense wasn't too bad last year. So, I got to go Pittsburgh, even though it's in Mile High. Coming over there in Mile High, it does get rough for teams, especially late in the year. It's getting colder. The air's getting thinner, even thinner. So that's going to play a factor, but still it's going to be tough for people to go into Denver to beat Pittsburgh's offense. So I got Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, week 13. Denver on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals. How you feeling about Cincinnati here? You think they could get the home win against Denver?
No, I think Denver wins that one. The Bengals are the Bengals at this point. Are they just for show? Do they? Why are they? Why are the Bengals? Are they the front for a drug cartel that I'm not aware of?
I think we're all trying to figure that out.
Why did they re-sign their Marvin Lewis to a contract extension? I don't understand why they do that. Why they don't move on from anybody ever.
No,
that was the most puzzling move in the offseason.
I feel bad for Vontaze Burfict because he was taught how to annihilate people as a defensive player, and then they changed the rules, and so now Vontaze Burfict is viewed as a terrible human being because he wants to give people CTE. But it's he just was trained to play that way. That's
yeah, he's a little old-fashioned. He's a little bit old soul, I guess you could say.
yeah. But anyways, I got the Broncos winning that one.
Sean?
Yeah, I do too. I'm not big on the Bengals. They have AJ Green, Andy Dalton. Joe Mixon looked great. I'm not going to lie. Joe Mixon, I was never too big on him, but he looked great in the first preseason game. But that's preseason. That's why I'm not too big, too low on them.
That's why I'm going with the Bengals here.
You're going with Bengals?
Yes, I'm going with a huge upset win here, and a lot has to do with Joe Mixon. I think he's going to have a breakout year this season. This dude looks a lot like Le'Veon Bell. He draws a lot of comparison to him, and I think that offensive line is going to be better than it was last year. I like the additions they made with Billy Price, Corey Glenn. Yeah. And if you can, Andy Dalton's not the best quarterback in the fucking NFL at all.
Not even close.
But I think they can give him just maybe enough time to go vertical with John Ross and, A.J. Green. And Tyler Eifert, if he stays healthy, that's a big weapon for Dalton. So I'm going with the Bengals with the upset win.
You're going to be the odd man out here.
Yep.
Okay. All right. You're crazy.
Maybe. I may be crazy.
TJ shaking his head like, what in the world?
I may be crazy. Now, not too crazy. Week 14, Denver's on the road against the San Francisco 49ers. I like the 49ers this year. What about you, TJ?
Yeah, I think that's a loss. And I think it's going to make – once again, Denver has all these opportunities to get these great players and great coaches or retain great players and great coaches. And John Elway is kind of a dick. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but he doesn't like giving people more money than he's like, all right, I'm going to offer you a contract, and if you don't accept it, you're dead to me. And so that's what – and also, too, Kyle Shanahan, who's in San Francisco now, he wanted a lot of control. He wanted a lot of power. He wanted a lot of those things that John Elway wasn't willing to give to a head coach. So that's why Vance Joseph is the head coach, because he will do whatever he's told. And Kyle Shanahan's like, no, I prefer to run my ship. I want control of my team. So I think that Kyle Shanahan is certainly, with his connections to Denver, going to want to show that he was the right man for that job, or that he is certainly a better option at that position just because of those personal connections. But in general, I would say they are a better team. They've got a better quarterback. They've got a lot more depth than I think people realize. John Lynch has done a good job of basically turning the roster and getting some good players in there. I did not understand how important that was until I saw the difference between Romeo Crennel coached the Chiefs in 2012 to a 2-14 record with 7 Pro Bowlers on the roster. They still had Jamal Charles, and they still had Derek Johnson and Eric Berry and all these guys. They had 7 Pro Bowlers on that team, and they were 2-14. And then Andy Reid comes in the very next year, and they win 11 games. They won 11 games because just quite simply just adding small pieces like Quentin Demps to the roster. It's kind of these journeyman backup guys. Yeah. And I think John Lynch has done a tremendous job of that in San Francisco. So, I really like what they have there. I think that's going to be a victory for the Niners.
Okay.
Wow, I'm going to be the odd man out and pick Denver. I think San Francisco's on the right track, and I love Kyle Shanahan, but I feel like their red zone offense wasn't really that great last year. I feel like they did not address it this year, and I don't feel like they got that receiver to really just throw the ball up and give it to him. I don't see that, and so I feel like they'll be able to move the ball up and down the field because I love Jimmy G, but I feel like they're not going to be able to put up touchdowns. And because I like y'all, like I said, I like y'all's defense. I really do. I think a lot of people, just because of y'all's record last year, they just overlooked that defense. But trust me, my Cowboys know. We got demolished by y'all last year. So I think y'all be able to pull this out. I think it's going to be one of those ones that people they're really high in San Francisco, but I think Denver's going to be able to pull this out just because of that fact. They'll keep them out of the end zone.
Keep reminding Ari Temkin of that fact that the Dallas Cowboys got the shit kicked out of them by the Denver Broncos last year.
I'm trying to forget
because he seems to forget that. He seems to forget it.
I don't know why y'all destroyed us, and then right after that y'all fell apart. I'm like, why couldn't y'all fall apart a week earlier? I didn't understand it. I don't either. I also don't understand why they stopped running the ball entirely. That was a Jason Garrett gaffe if I've ever seen one. Ezekiel Elliott had 8 yards. Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, I don't honestly. I remember we watched that game. Were we in New Orleans at that time?
Yeah.
And we just got back. We went to Saints and Patriots, and we just got back to the hotel. We turned it on.
It was funny.
I was crying. I was so pissed.
It was a great time.
You were happy because I was getting pissed.
But a huge shout out to Ari Temkin.
Yeah, shout out to Ari.
Great dude. Now heading into Week 15, Denver back at home playing against the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
How do you see this one playing out? Cleveland, they're making some good moves.
I think that Cleveland could be a 500 team this year. They And I think that's true whether they start Tyrod Taylor or Baker Mayfield. Because I think he's good enough. I mean, and they've got other really good weapons around him. And there's some things about the Cleveland Browns that are inexplicably good that for some reason they can't seem to take advantage of. But yeah, that's going to be a tough game. It's kind of dependent upon, it's so late in the season. I don't know who's going to be in where injury wise, but on paper right now, I'd say that's a toss up. Where is that? That's here.
Denver. Yeah, it's in Denver.
So I'm going to go Broncos there, just because the Broncos always beat the Browns. So
yeah, I'm going Broncos as well. It's a Saturday game too, so yeah, those games can get a little weird. But yeah, I'm going Denver.
Yeah, if it was in Cleveland, it might be a different story. I really like Cleveland. I think, like you said, they could be a 500 team. They're going to be able to compete. They were in a lot of games last year, but Deshaun Kaiser throwing the most picks out of the league doesn't help. I think Denver should be able to take care of business in Mile High. It's going to be kind of tough for Cleveland to come in there with that. Like I said, late in the year, thin air. It's going to be tough.
Jarvis is looking really good over there right now.
I love Jarvis. Yeah, man. That speech he had on Hard Knocks. Woof.
Yeah,
got me all fired up.
Now heading into Week 16, Monday Night Football.
Yeah,
Denver at Oakland. We were thinking about going to this game. Not sure yet.
Yeah.
But how do you see this one playing out in Oakland?
I think it's going to be a Broncos victory. I am not high on the Raiders at all.
Ooh,
and
sweet.
I think the Raiders are going to be terrible. I really do. And it's, once again, it's much more about the coaching staff and dysfunction than it is about talent, because they've got some talented guys.
Yeah.
But no, I think Broncos win that one.
John?
Okay. Yeah, I was going to go back and forth because it's a divisional game. I think at this point in the year, I have your Broncos in that playoff race for that wild card or possibly the division here. So I want to pick Oakland, but I think Denver might pull this out because they're going to need this game. I don't think Oakland's going to be in the playoff hunt right here. I think y'all are going to need it. Does Oakland want to be the spoiler? Of course, but I think Denver can pull it out. There's still too many question marks on that defense. I think Denver wins it.
I think they're going to split.
You're gonna split?
I think Oakland's gonna get the win here at home and get the split against Denver.
Interesting.
Call me crazy, but
you are. We already know that. We already established that early in the video.
Okay.
With the Bengals.
Fair. Week 17. Denver closed out the season against the Los Angeles Chargers. Yep. I also think this is gonna be a split, and Denver wins here at home. What do you think, TJ?
Oh no, I think Chargers win.
They sweep you.
I'm really high on the Chargers, and I think that this is basically. I think Phillip Rivers is getting to that point to where you either got to get it done or it's not going to happen. So I think it's kind of a make or break year for him, and I expect maybe a career season from Phillip Rivers.
Oof.
So I think the Chargers are going to win.
Well, I do actually have Denver winning this one at home late in the year. I think it's going to be ones where it's really cold. It's one of those things that Chargers are used to playing in California, right? L.A. now. Used to be. I was about to say San Diego for a second. But they're going to be in Denver. I think that weather is going to play a factor. And I think Denver could pull this one out at home.
Yeah, I have Denver splitting, but the Chargers, they might be fighting for, I don't know, maybe number 2 seed.
They could be fighting right here for a play. I think they're both fighting for a spot right here. Yeah, definitely.
So I'm going Denver here, and as of right now, preseason, I think I got Denver 7-9. I think their floor is 6-10, and I think they could be as high as 9-7. Again, like TJ alluded to earlier, Vance Joseph, terrible coach. That's one of my biggest concerns for the Denver Broncos as well. He made great points on that. And, I think between 6-10, 9-7. That's the ceiling for me.
Wow, I got y'all 11-5. I have y'all making the wild card. I really do believe that this team can. I know. I was just thinking about it. The defense, Case Keenum. I saw this team reminds me what he's got here in Denver reminds me a lot what he had in Vikings. A defense and a team that just wants to control the ball on offense, just like the Vikings did last year. So if he could replicate the season he had last year, I think this team could win 11 games, maybe even a little bit, maybe 12 games, give or take. But yeah, also the coaching, like Josh says, that does concern me. I'm just praying that Case Keenum, because I'm kind of a fan of Case Keenum. He's like the underdog for me, and I love Case Keenum. But y'all could lose. Y'all could be 7 or 8-8, 7-9, give or take, depending on what Vance Joseph screws up this year.
Okay.
I don't know.
Denver fans love you right now.
I know.
TJ?
I think your rationale is solid there on if they're good, that's why they'll be good. I think it's all about Case Keenum. You're 100% correct there. I just don't think that Case Keenum is – they were ahead in every game. So, he never had the pressure of I'm down 2 scores, nobody's playing well at all, and I have to do this myself. And that's why Denver won all those games with Peyton Manning, because Gary Kubiak would run the ball, into the grave, and then they would be down by like 10 points to the Chiefs or whomever, and then everybody on the team would just be like, "Oh, Peyton, save us," and then he would, and it was just like, "Oh, well, that's that simple. That's how that works." So I guess I never knew that. That was that easy. Just ask Peyton Manning to do it for me. But that's what they did. And that's what they did with John Elway. So, the idea that now it's that Case Keenum is going to come in and be that same kind of guy, I don't see that. But if they've got leads, if they don't turn the ball over, if their defense is solid and they've got good run defense, and Case Keenum is allowed to operate back there, I think you're right. I think that if he's allowed to thrive, given all the tools he needs, then they could be 11-5. They could be a playoff team. But I just don't think it's realistic to predict that based off of some of the other questions that they currently have.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, we want to hear all y'all's thoughts. Denver Broncos fans, let us know in the comment section down below who you agree with, disagree with. What do you have their record being this year? Let us know your thoughts. And once again, TJ, can't thank you enough for
man. We appreciate it. Seriously.
Doing this with us. We appreciate you, man.
Hey, it was a blast. Anytime, guys. Thank you so much for having me on. This was a lot of fun. And don't forget, Twitter, at TJ Carpenter Show. I'm doing the social stuff like you guys on Watch Phantom.
Yep.
And then if you're ever in Denver or if you want to listen online, milehighsports.com, 1340 a.m. Monday through Friday every morning. So morning drive in Denver. You can listen to us on Mile High Sports. Myself, Sean Drotar, and Nate Lundy. Those other 2 guys are sycophantic Broncos fans. I am an objective person who is going to give you the truth. So by all means, please listen.
All right.
Awesome.
Yes, sir. And the links to all that will be in the description box down below, so make sure you guys go follow TJ.
Yeah.
And, all right, TJ Carpenter, we'll see how it all plays out in the 2018 season. All right, Denver Broncos fans, good luck.
Later.